Tyson at 58, though,
No,
right?
No, he was much slower. But George was always kind of slow. He just has thunderous power. He was never like a real fast guy like Ali or any of those other guys. He was just when they were in that ring.
I don't think
Jake Paul trolled Mike Tyson after his recent health scare on a plane, promising to deal with him. This was enough to annoy many boxing professionals, especially Joe Rogan, who violently attacked him.
Good, Joe.
You never know. It can happen.
Jake Paul's favored.
He's a favorite. Yeah. Well, he's 27 years old, and he's a really good boxer. He's a very good boxer. Like
Jake Paul made mockery of Mike Tyson's most recent health issue, and Joe Rogan isn't having a bit of his antics. While it wasn't the best news for the fans of the baddest man on the planet, it was the kind of news naysayers like Oscar De La Hoya, Bernard Hopkins, and Dana White were waiting for to further push their agenda against the fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul on July 20th. While many of these boxing professionals have shunned the idea of such a ridiculous matchup that will see a 58-year-old man lock horns in the ring against a fighter who is 31 years younger, their motive isn't in any way hateful. Many of Mike Tyson's naysayers are actually those who have so much love and respect for him and are only scared of how devastating the consequences could be for the former undisputed world heavyweight champion. And with the latest news, it's expected that many more boxing professionals will share their opinions to prevent Iron Mike Tyson from fighting. Tyson returns to the ring on July 20th when he faces Paul in a pro fight that is scheduled to take place at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas.
we see this again, Joe.
you never know. It can happen.
Jake Paul's favored.
He's a favorite. Yeah. Well, he's 27 years old, and he's a really good boxer. He's a very good boxer. Like, he's a legitimate professional.
It will be the 57-year-old's first appearance in a pro bout since 2005 when he lost to Ireland's Kevin McBride, who now lives a very different life. And ahead of meeting Paul in a pro contest, the boxing legend had an almighty scare on a flight from Miami to Los Angeles on Sunday. According to his representatives, Tyson became nauseous and dizzy due to an ulcer flare and received medical attention. But he is now doing great per his team. Thankfully, Mr. Tyson is doing great, the boxer's representative said. He became nauseous and dizzy due to an ulcer flare-up 30 minutes before landing. He is appreciative of the medical staff that were there to help him. A source said, Mike had some kind of medical emergency on the plane and paramedics boarded. Before the paramedics arrived, the flight issued an announcement asking for a doctor. The message even came on everyone's screens. In Touch Weekly did not know whether the former world heavyweight champion was removed from the flight, which had been delayed by 2 hours in Miami.
He's a favorite. Yeah. Well, he's 27 years old, and he's a really good boxer. He's a very good boxer. Like, he's a legitimate professional boxer. He fought Tommy Fury, who's also a legitimate professional boxer, a real good one.
His representatives, however, clarified that the delay was down to an air conditioning issue and not Tyson's medical incident. Before the plane landed in Los Angeles, passengers heard an announcement asking for medical professionals. Per the report, the reported medical scare stopped passengers leaving the plane for 25 minutes. He was in first class, but we were in an exit row, and the stewardess was very chatty. They asked us to stay on the plane and landed so paramedics could enter, a source revealed. She said something like, "He's a really important passenger, so we want to make sure he's okay." I knew it was him, but I just mouthed the words, "Mike Tyson," and she nodded her head yes. A few days removed from the medical incident, the 57-year-old claims to be feeling 100% and sent a warning to his upcoming opponent. On X, he wrote, "Now I'm feeling 100% even though I don't need to be to beat Jake Paul." The former world heavyweight champion hasn't fought in a pro fight since June 2005, when he suffered the final defeat of his career. However, he returned to action back in November 2020 as he took on fellow great Roy Jones Jr. in an exhibition bout. Under the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, the returning boxing icon will have to pass a series of pre-fight tests. If he fails and is forced to pull out, then most valuable promotions have a former world champion on standby, while a boxing superstar has also thrown his name into the hat to face Paul, but fight fans have expressed their concerns for the boxing legend after footage of him on a treadmill has resurfaced amid his medical incidents. Footage shows Tyson struggling on a treadmill, albeit not a normal machine. People on social media made their feelings clear about his pro fight against Paul as they slammed the YouTuber turned boxer for facing the 57-year-old. One ex-user wrote, "He is an old man, and I hope he doesn't get hurt. Against Roy Jones, they were both old, but he's about to fight a young, strong man. Even if it is an exhibition, the punches still hit." A second pleaded, "Oh my goodness, please cancel the fight." A third added, "Please stop this fight, I don't want to see it anymore." A fourth wrote, "He's so done, Jake Paul should be ashamed." A fifth argued, "These aren't normal treadmills. I look just like Mike, my first time on one of these. They are very different and difficult. If you don't train, you wouldn't know."
Wants to fight Mike, I think.
Why?
I don't know.
I don't give a if he's 55. That's still Mike Tyson.
Mike's in good shape, too.
Oh, my God.
Mike trains every day.
He trains with Rafael Cordero, who's a legend in MMA. He runs King's mixed martial arts.
While he's been off the ring for almost 2 decades, he faced fellow great Roy Jones Jr. in an exhibition bout back in November 2020. The former world heavyweight champion looks to be in great shape, having documented his training camp, showing off his legendary power and hand speed, but fans are worried for when he returns to the ring. Jake Paul, who will welcome the boxing icon back to the ring this summer, initially issued an update on the status of their upcoming pro bout. On X, he had initially written, "You love to make stuff up before knowing the facts for clicks, likes. Nothing changed." However, on second thought, Jake Paul chose to be his usual problematic self and decided to troll Mike Tyson for his airplane incident. He posted in a now deleted tweet claiming Mike Tyson wasn't even fit to sit in a plane. Talk more of standing in the ring with the problem child? A man who can't sit in the plane wants to stand in the ring with the problem child. Hell in a cell.
He's a world-renowned trainer. When you see him holding the mitts for Tyson, and Tyson smashing the mitts, like, Jesus.
Yeah,
that guy can still fuck you up.
He don't.
Dude, I'm talking, you make it still at 55.
After admitting on several occasions how scared he was of Iron Mike Tyson, Jake Paul seemed to have gained some confidence in himself, seeing Mike Tyson's mounting health challenges. It's however been confirmed that Mike Tyson would have to undergo and pass some necessary tests before he can be deemed fit for the fight. However, Joe Rogan doesn't seem to fancy any of Jake Paul's mind games, and he has now spoken on behalf of Iron Mike Tyson, claiming a bedridden Mike Tyson would kill Jake Paul. On his eponymous podcast, the famous commentator said, "I saw Jake Paul and I felt like that was dumb. We don't always talk about the fact that he only fought a good boxer once and he lost. He seems to be finding it funny and prideful that he only fights against aged boxers who are past their prime. I guess someone needs to tell him Mike Tyson completed boxing before his older brother was born. That's how big Mike Tyson is."
Tyson at 58, though,
No,
right?
no, he was much slower. But George was always kind of slow. He just has thunderous power. He was never like a real fast guy like Ali or any of those other guys. He was just when they were in that ring.
I don't think we see this again, Joe.
You never know. It can happen.
Jake Paul's favorite.
He continued, "I feel it's quite stupid to mock someone with a health issue. Everyone could have that health issue. It's not related to his age. I'm sure he'd bounce back and finish off this last. And even if he isn't at his best, like he said, he doesn't need to be at his best to beat Jake Paul. I feel a bedridden Mike Tyson would kill him too." Shockingly, it turned out Joe Rogan wasn't showing any form of leniency with Jake Paul after initially lauding his boxing abilities. Rogan had earlier questioned why people often underestimate Jake Paul and instead advised them to forget him as a YouTuber and perceive him like they would perceive regular boxers. No, I mean people can take something away from them because they're YouTube people. I always tell people, what? Just forget that Jake Paul is a YouTube guy and watch him box. Yeah, the kid can fight 100%. Rogan went ahead to highlight moments from Paul's fight against Tommy Fury as evidence of Paul's boxing ability. And that Tommy Fury fight really showed that. I mean, it goes to a split decision against a legit, undefeated boxer. While he had a big question to ask from Jake Paul as to why he chose to fight the monstrous Tyson, he spoke about Tyson's unbelievable magnificence in the boxing ring and believed he was still as potent. He approached the 31-year difference between the pair like it was nothing and boasted about Tyson's training intensity like a trainer would do to his trainee.
By Mike, I think.
Why?
I don't know.
I don't give a if he's 55. That's still Mike Tyson.
Mike's in good shape too.
Oh my God.
Mike trains every day.
He trains with Rafael Cordero, who's a legend in MMA. He runs King's Mixed Martial Arts. And Rafael is a
No, why? I don't care if he's 55. That's still Mike Tyson. Mike's in good shape. Mike trains every day. He trains with Rafael Cordero, who's a legend in MMA. He runs King's Mixed Martial Arts. Rogan had nothing but praises for Mike Tyson as well as his trainer, Rafael Cordero, who he referred to as a MMA legend and renowned trainer. And Rafael is a world-renowned trainer. When you see him holding the mitts for Tyson and Tyson smashing the mitts like Jesus, that guy can still knock you out.
talking. You make it still at 55. At 55, the power is the last thing to go. But the thing is, the speed is still there.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he did with... Look at that, seriously.
Talking to Mike Tyson just after he saw the sparring footage with Rafael Cordero, Joe Rogan told him, "But that's what I was seeing when I saw you hit the pads. I'm like, this isn't just working out. There was something going on, man. When you were working out with Cordero and you were ripping to the body and throwing those hooks, I was like, this is a man who's preparing to go into combat. This is not normal getting ready to work out stuff." That's why, when I saw that video, I was like, oh. He also referenced Mike Tyson's last fight 4 years ago against Roy Jones Jr. He stated that the technology for recovery used by Mike and his team were sublime, and these technological tools would likely be at his disposal once again. With the additional impact of technology, Rogan tipped Mike for a routine victory. In this world with hormone replacement and vitamins and healing, and he does all this like electrical muscular stimulation recovery stuff. When they were training Mike for that Roy Jones fight, they produced state-of-the-art science. Like, I don't care if he's 55 years old, that guy will hurt you.
Talking, you make it still at 55. At 55, the power is the last thing to go. But the thing is, the speed is still there.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he did with, look at that, seriously. I don't know what he did with Roy.
Funnily, Rogan held Mike Tyson in so much high regard that he felt Jake Paul might get starstruck when he sees him in the ring and really wakes to the reality that he's taking on Mike Tyson. If Jake Paul's on the other side of the ring and he sees Mike Tyson just bobbing and weaving it, he's going to have a recognition. Yeah, he's going to look over and God, that's really Mike Tyson. Joe Rogan then went ahead to show the footage, appreciating Tyson for his speed and power at such an old age. Rogan also looked back at Mike Tyson's match against Roy Jones Jr., sharing his sentiment that he felt an agreement held Tyson back from hitting Jones in the face. Evidently, most of Tyson's punches, except a few, were aimed at Jones's body.
It can happen.
Jake Paul's favored.
He's a favorite.
Yeah. Well, he's 27 years old, and he's a really good boxer. He's a very good boxer. Like, he's a legitimate professional boxer. He fought Tommy.
Look at this dude. I'm talking, he's still at 55. At 55, the power is the last thing to go, but the speed is still there. I don't know what he did with Roy Jones Jr., but in my mind, it looked like they made some sort of agreement that Mike wasn't going to punch him in the face because, like, most of the hits that he hit him with, unless it was a jab or something like that, was to the body, yeah. Sadly, with Mike Tyson's recent health issue, Joe Rogan would be wishing he never made some of those statements, as his naysayers are seeing their predictions become real. One of his naysayers is Oscar De La Hoya, who, despite his love for Tyson, believes Mike Tyson isn't in the best state to go into such a fight. In an interview with TMZ Sports, the Golden Boy warned Iron Mike to be careful. "I'm going to pray for Mike Tyson because I love Mike Tyson," De La Hoya said. "I think Jake Paul, look, he's a real fighter. He really is. It's a dangerous fight. Mike Tyson, be careful, please."
If he fights the right fights and takes the right path to that world title, he can actually get there. I'm not sure, because it's up to him if he can win it, but he can get there. But he's not going to get there.
Well, there's little surprise regarding Oscar De La Hoya's worries, having also appeared on the screen about a month ago to express his concerns about the matchup. Look, I'm a purist. Have I been involved in these kinds of fights? No. Look, this is what I feel. Jake Paul, you say you want to be the world champion, you say you want to take the sport seriously, then take it serious, De La Hoya said in an interview when asked about Tyson versus Jake Paul's bout.
He's not gonna, I mean, he's gonna make a shitload of money. He's gonna gain more popularity on Mike Tyson's expense. Do I like it? No, because I love Mike Tyson.
He's a cruiserweight.
He sounded disappointed at Jake Paul for considering taking on Mike Tyson in the first place, claiming he was acting against his words of taking the sport seriously. What is this? This is not a popularity contest. I'm actually praising Jake Paul here for taking this seriously because I really truly feel if he fights the right fights and takes the right path to that world title, he can actually get there. He then tipped Paul to go as far as he wants, but only if he fights the right fights. I'm not sure because it's up to him if he can win it, but he can get there. But he's not going to get there through Mike Tyson. He's going to make a shitload of money. He's going to gain more popularity at Mike Tyson's expense. Do I like it? No, because I love Mike Tyson.
Jake Paul, you say you want to be a world champion. You say you want to take this sport serious. Then take it serious. What is this? This is not a popularity contest.
He further expressed his dislike for the fight and his belief as to who's a right opponent for Jake Paul. He claimed Mike Tyson is not a right fight for Jake Paul. He hasn't earned it. We have to keep it into perspective. This is entertainment, I guess. This is a fight that is going to do great business all over the world. More power to them. But last time I heard Jake Paul was very serious about the sport. All I'm saying is make your money, but take the sport seriously.
Jake Paul, you say you want to be a world champion. You say you want to take this sport serious. Then take it serious.
Despite his love for Mike, he felt Mike was too old for the fight and only hoped he came out of it safe. It's going to be dangerous for Tyson, but it won't be dangerous for Tyson because Tyson's been up in the ring with monsters. He has a chin, and I'm sure he can go 6 rounds, 7 rounds, 8 rounds, but I'm just concerned about Tyson's legacy. I've never seen a 57-year-old fighter in the ring against a strong bull like Jake Paul. I think it'll be sad for Tyson. I'm not sure how or which way it affects boxing because a lot of eyeballs are going to be watching. I grew up with Tyson. Hopefully he stays safe up there.
Praising Jake Paul here to take this serious because I really truly feel if he fights the right fights and takes the right path to that world title, he can actually get there. I'm not sure because it's up to him if he can win it.
And as a result of Mike Tyson's airplane incident, many old claims and clips have been popping up again. In an article for The Conversation, a senior lecturer in medicine at Anglia Ruskin University, Stephen Hughes, had highlighted that Tyson is at risk of suffering a tearing of the veins in his brain, known as a subdural hematoma. Hughes explained, bleeding from these torn veins causes a collection of blood that presses on the brain. This causes confusion, loss of consciousness, neurological disability, and in some cases, death. I recall a patient, a boxer who had previously sustained a subdural hematoma and had a physical disability and terrible depression. These were devastating permanent effects. According to Hughes, the immediate effects may be minimal and the boxer may recover sometimes, and at other times, the effects may be more damaging. He went on to say that as people age, these veins become more vulnerable, while an accelerating factor of this is alcoholism, something that Mike Tyson has openly suffered with in the past. A subdural hematoma can occur. In this condition, shearing forces cause tearing of bridging veins between the brain and blood vessels within the brain coverings or meninges. Bleeding from these torn veins causes a collection of blood that presses on the brain. This causes confusion, loss of consciousness, neurological disability, and in some cases, death. In older people, the brain tends to lose volume. This lengthens the bridging veins and makes them more vulnerable to rupture. Alcoholism is known to accelerate brain shrinkage, and it appears that Tyson has this as a past risk factor. Shearing forces on the brain cause injury to neurons' brain cells. Another major cause of fear has been an injury that forced Tyson into using crutches just about a year ago. And despite Mike Tyson's trainer, Rafael Cordero, coming out to explain that it was no cause for worry, only a few were unmoved by it. In his interview, Cordero explained the back pain and how it all started. Mike's had back pain since he was a kid, Cordero said. We're always looking after his back in training. He moves a lot to the side, and that takes a toll. And since he travels a lot, he was using the crutches to help him stand straight after long flights.
It's the same way to my boys to fight MMA, so there's no difference. And sometimes I can see on Mike something they can inspire the next generation, the way he see the fight. When he put his name, he knows what to do.
Mike Tyson must have made this decision. Seeing many boxers have brain issues before their death and at such an age, it is wiser to reduce the amount of risks he takes. Mike Tyson's hero Muhammad Ali died of an ailment related to the brain that was said to have been showing symptoms before his retirement. For much of his career, boxing great Muhammad Ali was convinced that his brain wouldn't be affected by the thousands of powerful, crippling blows he received from his opponents. Ali's style was quite different and strange. Often he'd be seen motivating his opponent to throw more punches at him, believing they would eventually get tired from doing so. Then after their tiredness, he'll come striking. Jonathan Eag, who wrote a biography of the boxing legend, said, he kept saying it wasn't going to happen to him, that he wasn't going to get brain damage. In fact, he encouraged his sparring partners to hit him in the head. He believed he could build up resistance to shots to the head, kind of like calluses. With an all-encompassing focus on his private and public lifestyle, Eag chronicled the life of the three-time heavyweight champion, whom he said, Ali made people really rethink what it meant to be an athlete. He changed the country and the world. There had never been an African-American athlete who spoke up the way he did and demanded to be treated as more than an entertainer. However, it was Ali's struggle with neurological damage, painstakingly detailed by Eag, that remains very applicable in relation to Mike Tyson today. And that's all for now. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Until next time, peace out.